Good afternoon and welcome to Arts America, the program that brings you the best art stories from St. Louis and around the country. Thanks for joining us. We report on a lot of arts organizations here on Arts America, but the history of the St. Louis Artists Guild is the history of art itself here in St. Louis. And this year it turns 130 years old. Its members are a who's who of major contributors to the arts in St. Louis and nationally. And at 130, it's as active and vibrant as ever. We recently attended one of their exhibits and talked with some of the people who are keeping this great St. Louis tradition alive. This particular evening was the opening for a photography exhibition and an opportunity to enjoy some well-deserved birthday cake.
So this year, every time we have an opening reception, we've been having birthday cake to celebrate our 130 years. I think that is amazing that a nonprofit arts organization has lived to be 130 years old. That is no small feat or task. And you look through the history of the organization, and there have been this legion of St. Louis and national artists who have participated throughout the years.
The actual founding of the Guild came about as a challenge to the conventional thinking of the day and an effort to broaden the scope of who could be an artist.
There was the St. Louis Sketch Group, and that was only allowed men to participate in the sketch group. So a different group formed that allowed women. And so in 1886, the St. Louis Artists Guild was one of the first organizations to allow women to participate in the sketch groups and get the academic and practice training that the men were getting.
The list of Artists Guild members is a who's who of 19th, 20th, and 21st century artists. And in the early days, becoming a member was not a simple matter.
Back in those days, you just couldn't just join the Artists Guild. You had to be recommended by a member in good standing. And then your recommendation was presented to the board for approval. So, yeah, but we don't quite have those restrictions these days.
It was just about the only arts organization for many years. And so if you wanted to exhibit work, that's, you were a member of the St. Louis Artists Guild. We want to keep that core mission of 130 years of exhibiting artists. So we have one of the largest galleries for a community arts nonprofit in St. Louis. So we are very community art oriented, and not just a place for artists, but anyone who loves art, wants to learn about art. We have lectures monthly. We have smaller groups that meet and bring in speakers. Those are free and open to the public.
So we're growing and we're changing with the times. And I think that's one of the important aspects of an art organization. Is you've got to keep up with what's going on in arts. We have what we call sections. So we have an art section, a fine arts section. We have a photography section. We have a fiber section. We have a communications section. But for most of the arts, we've got it covered. And each one of these sections is kind of individual. They're run by different leaders.
The St. Louis Artists Guild has occupied a number of interesting places over its long history. Most remarkably, its early home on Union Avenue in the central West End, an architectural gem designed by Louis Sparring in 1907. For years, it occupied a home in Webster Groves. And most recently, a mansion in Clayton's Oak Knoll Park. Today, it resides in a building well known to generations of St. Louisans as the Clayton Famous Bar Department Store, which is currently owned by Washington University.
We have this gorgeous, beautiful, stunning, fabulous contemporary gallery. So it has been a wonderful transition and a wonderful new home.
Which lends itself well to carrying out its 130-year mission of exhibiting the work of artists from St. Louis and around the country and offering them a place to gather.
What I love about Artists Guild, about all of the community and group shows, is the ability to see other works. We have a great body of artists, professional artists, working full-time artists, as well as people who just maintain their passion to do their art.
And one of the things the Guild likes to do is make connections with other groups and other artists and small galleries around, and to encourage that. Whether you're an emerging artist or a well-established artist, we really want to recognize and celebrate the rich heritage of artists that are in St. Louis.